Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with Kev for your Lions Raw match reaction / match reflection show. And we were just talking before we came on, mate. We're still a little bit tired, like still a bit emotionally drained, but ultimately as well, have to be proud of the performance and the run that we've been on in this Champions League.
Yeah, I think both the it's the performance, but also the comeback, because it looked absolutely gone, didn't it? I mean, I think I was probably like one of many people thinking, how long do I leave it before before I leave? Oh, I reckon I can still catch the shops being open to get myself some food and all sorts, and then all of a sudden, such a stirring comeback. But yeah, I mean that just looking at what we've done this season in this competition, our first time in it since 1982-83 season, getting to the same stage we got to then, going out to an incredible team again like we did 42 years ago with all of those Italian World Cup winners from the year before, with Boniak, with Platini, hugely renowned names in the world of international football at the time. And we've obviously lost to this PSG team who that all of us were thinking, I don't know if I've seen a better team, really. I think everyone was thinking. So incredibly proud, mate. Yeah. I mean, obviously it was a loss over the two legs, and we're out of the competition. That I think if we'd have got the extra goal, but we can get into all of that, can't we, in terms of the what's and what nots, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we'll get all your comments and everything else coming through. James is in, even all up the Villa. He's still the Ollie fanboy. Good evening to you, Lewis, as well. We'll obviously get into the Premier League because obviously our attentions will switch to that and the FA Cup. So we will obviously talk that as well, and how you feel like we might be able to use that as inspiration last night to push us on in the Premier League. So we'll get into all of that. Make sure you smash a like button as well, people. Help us on the road to 6,000 subscribers, and get your comments flowing in. Hit the like as well, as we said, and subscribe to the channel if you want to become a member as well. I was thinking of doing the members prize. I might do I don't know if people are program collectors or members, but we've got a program from last night, and might do that as a little members prize for people. So watch out for that. But yeah, click the $sign, click the join button, anything like that to become a member. Where do you want to start, mate? Because obviously the Lions Raw, we talk a bit about performances and kind of highlight certain players, maybe certain moments in the game. I did on my reflection show this morning, and I don't know whether we started really brightly, but I don't know whether the overriding sort of feeling for the first half for yourself was maybe we just were a bit timid to shoot. And I felt like it wasn't that we paid them too much respect. I think that's probably the wrong terminology, but I don't know if we just wanted to risk the shot. And it was a real contrast from that to the second half.
Yeah, it was. It was a disappointing half of football because obviously they didn't really have that many chances and they caught us twice. Obviously a mistake and then obviously a good counter. But we had a lot of the ball around their box. We had a lot of chances to get shots off. I was thinking a few times, just there was times I felt like even if it just was like an improvised shot, there was a couple of times I thought Rashford could have just like almost like toe poked it or whatever. You got half a yard, just get it close enough to the goal. But yeah, maybe we were almost trying to keep it too meticulous and play that perfect ball through, and just make it count. But I don't know. I think maybe the game's different, isn't it? If we score the first goal, going two behind felt just like a little bit too much of a hurdle to get over although we had a really good
We had
stab
a
at
hell
it.
of a go. We did. We did. It just felt like obviously their goals came in the way that they did, and we know how quickly they are in terms of on the break. They get up the pitch within 3 or 4 passes. Many times they did that at their home ground. So, when players said that they'd learned from that, you kind of think, right, they seemed at their most dangerous when they won the ball in their own penalty area. So
Yeah,
there was a time when Rashford could have maybe he tried to take it round and be a bit too clever, and they pinched the ball off him. The same with Onana when he got bundled over. The same on a couple of other occasions. Then they used their fullback just goes. Yeah, the fullback just goes. Then they have one of the wide midfielders or one of the central midfielders drops right in to make an extra defender. Then the other central midfielder drops in, and the wide midfielder comes in. They play the pass into him. They set it back off to the midfielder. The fullback's already gone. The classic third man run, and then they're in. Right. That's when they're at the most dangerous. They don't even think about it. They just do it. So for me, it was like, well, if you're gonna have a shot, even if it gets blocked, even if it gets a deflection, even if it goes miles over the bar, at least you're going to be able to reset your defensive shape to combat their attacking shape rather than lose the ball and know exactly what they're going to do when they win it back, or as the trend is, say, in transition.
in transition. Yeah, we love that phrase, don't we? I tell you what, as well with PSG, I'm not casting aspersions here, by the way, or making allegations, but it felt like, is it that was it like Gary Neville and maybe on the overlap where they talked about, I think it might have been that Juve team in the 90s and maybe even the Barcelona team, and they felt like it was almost like they were on something. I don't know if anyone's seen that film Limitless with
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, but I thought that the PSG players first half and the entirety of the first leg, it was like they were on some kind of special magic potion, like stronger, fitter, to the ball quicker, relentless. The way they were kind of controlling the ball, and as you say, that the ability they showed it perfectly well. I think for that second goal last night, the way that we had the ball, I think we lost possession, and then it almost felt inevitable that they were going to score. It did, didn't
Mm.
it? Just the way they got out quickly, and it was just so instinctive for them. Then, as you said, pass, and they're in. And obviously, great finish by the other fullback as well, by Nuno Mendes. I mean, is it? Could you imagine Matty Cash and Luca Digne being up there where their two fullbacks were last night? And that just says again a lot about how they played, isn't it?
Yeah. And look, they play some really good stuff. You know that they do. It's so incisive. It's so fast. It's very much reminiscent to Luis Enrique's Barcelona team in the past. And yeah, it's quite simple, to be honest, but it's just so perfect in its execution. As I say, classic third man running. That's not rewriting the coaching
No,
book.
no.
It's very simple football, but it's just so perfectly executed. What switch do you think happened with Aston Villa when they went 2-0 down, 5-1 on aggregate? What do you think flipped with Villa in terms of their mentality?
I think it was very much a we've got nothing to lose now.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I do think some of the post-match sort of commentary and content I've seen, I do think it was kind of alluded to by one of the people saw talking, but it was evident in the play because obviously we were having shots and we were a lot more direct. I was really pleased with the energy levels, and I felt like we took an opportunity in that game. Obviously, we got a goal back fairly quickly with Tielemans, and then there was still a bit of time before half time. It came out second half, the two quick goals. And that obviously really, really changed the game. But yeah, it was all started by Yuri, wasn't it? And not his cleanest strike, but that's almost the perfect example of if you have a shot, there's a good chance you're going to get a deflection, a second ball, maybe it's going to come out to you. You're putting pressure on their goal. And if we think about the success we've had this season, we got through to this stage because of a Ross Barkley deflected free kick against Leipzig, didn't we? We
Yeah, and a goal out of nothing moment from John Duran that beat Bayern Munich.
yeah,
An own goal that got us the 2-1 lead against Club Brugge away from home.
yeah.
So
You just
there's
got to have a go
Yeah.
for it. I mean, even McGinn's goal last night to get us back, 2-2 on the night was actually deflected. Maybe wouldn't have gone in if it had been not got took the nick. So you've got to have shots in football. You've got to have shots if you're right around the box. You got to go for it. I mean, actually, some of our better chances Donnarumma did better with than some of the ones arguably you thought you might have saved. So but yeah, I mean, obviously, it was just. I mean, once that goal went in, I still thought at half time, well, this is going to be a hell of a task. I don't fancy our chances. Next goal is going to be key. I was actually convinced at 2-1 on the night to them that they were going to get the next goal again, and it was going to be 4 goals to overcome with like 40 minutes left, and then it would have been what time does the chippy shut sort of chat, And actually, when it went to 2-2, we were like, right, okay, so we need 2 more goals. And then that goal so quickly afterwards. I've not seen an atmosphere. And I've been to every Champions League game except for Bayern. And everyone was telling me how amazing the Bayern atmosphere was. But been to a lot of great games at Villa over the years. But that's as good as an atmosphere I can remember. That sort of feeling around the crowd that actually not only are we going to get this to extra time, that I thought we were going to do it in normal time the way we were playing.
Yeah, I mean it was as close to the Atletico Madrid game when Stan Collymore hit that amazing goal, which ended up going out valiantly in that game. We won the night 2-1, but we went out, I think, maybe on away goals or whatever. Yeah.
I remember that game. I was selling. I used to work at the Villa, sort of selling like food and stuff behind the bars, and we got to see the last half an hour of the game, maybe the last 40 minutes of the game, and that was actually where my brain went. It was that sense of like the fans all being united, big tie. I mean, obviously that was the UEFA Cup against Atletico Madrid, and probably I think it was the round of 16, probably that one. I think it was to get into the quarterfinals. And yet it was that sense of we can do this. We're all together. And last night that unified voice and the juxtaposition of that, obviously with the PSG fans all half naked with their PSG signs and
I swear they don't even watch the match, most of them.
Yeah, I know. It's just there for the banter, aren't they? Yeah. And seeing that classic sort of French football outfit of like the tracksuits with full PSG tracksuit, white socks pulled up to your ankles, like I mean, amazing atmosphere, and do you know what? I feel kind of like I don't want us to be the plucky loser. Oh, you never know. Good old Villa. Didn't they ever go? Like you almost feel like in an FA Cup game. Remember when was it Kiddy Harriers played West Ham, and they lost right at the end, didn't they? It was like an extra time goal. Oh, bless them. I want it to be a situation. We've still got a chance this season, of course, in the FA Cup, where we're not the bridesmaid. We are finally the bride after many years. But I don't know what else you can say, really, to get out of that game last night. And I think it's the first time ever PSG have been 2 goals up in a game, in a Champions League game, and lost it. Obviously, English teams haven't done great against PSG this season. And let's be clear, that performance in the first leg by them is still ranks me one of the best performances I've ever seen any team put in. I just thought they were unbelievable all across the pitch. So for us to still be in the tie to the level we were, and then to win the second leg, I just think is a phenomenal achievement, really. It's a real credit to Unai, because obviously had a pretty bad, probably his last meeting with Enrique probably wasn't the best, was it, when they won the first leg? 4-0, wasn't it? And they lost 6-1 in the second leg. So I think he would have been keen to get one over on them. Obviously a team he used to manage as well. The irony of all ironies was I was convinced that Asensio was going to do what Coutinho did to Barca for Bayern. And when he was clean through, I thought, well, this is it. This is the moment. And tried to be a bit cute with it, didn't he, really? I think he could have took it round the keeper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? People say if onlys and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, we, and I think a lot of people said, "Oh, that third goal last week was a killer if we'd have gone in 2-1." But we'd have approached the game totally different if we were 2-1 down. But PSG would have approached the game totally different had they been just 2-1 up. If it was always going to happen when you get a situation where you get it back to 2-1, you get it back to 2-2, then 3-2. You're going to have a lull. That's just what happens. Like, PSG aren't an amazing team for nothing, right? We had them on the ropes, but the boxer who's on the ropes and you don't quite get the knockout blow is going to clinch. He's going to come back with a couple of punches. They're going to settle themselves down. They're going to sit and take a knee count and just gather their thoughts together. And that's always going to happen. It was virtually impossible for Villa to keep that intensity and that momentum going without PSG having a little bit of time back. And maybe even had we scored, maybe even had we gone to extra time, PSG might have got 2 or 3 goals, and then it becomes a moot point because we might have punched ourselves out of it, and then it's kind of almost not that it's better to lose. Of course, it's not. But we won the game. We did what we did. I would have hated it to have gone to extra time and then to have just gone out like 2 or 3. Then PSG get a couple of goals, and it's all like, oh, Villa took them to extra time, but they ran out of steam, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I think if you can look into a crystal ball, then and that's what would have happened, then you'll take it. Defeat after 93 minutes, whatever it was. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll talk about them in a minute.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah,
and you can then be as refreshed as you can be against an absolutely flying Newcastle side.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. You're absolutely right. The game, how the game goes, very much changes what happens in the game, doesn't it? And I don't think ordinarily we'd be scoring 3 goals in the space of 30 minutes against Real Madrid. It actually reminded me a little bit, kind of like context-wise, of when you did your description. Then I'm showing my age a little bit here, but do you remember when Frank Bruno fought Mike Tyson? And I would have listened to it on the radio probably in the late 80s. And, Bruno had never done anything really at a serious level. I don't know, he won a world title at the end against Oliver McCall, I think. But and I remember the Harry Carpenter on the radio commentary. And Tyson's on the ropes. He's hurt. Tyson's hurt. And I remember everyone was kind of, I'm sure around the nation, going, come on, Frank, you can do it. And that's exactly what we were like last night. When that third goal went in, it was like run back. Konza missed header, the Tielemans header, the Rashford shot. I mean, it was just chance.
Relentless. It was relentless.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Tombo, I haven't got a defeatist attitude. I wanted extra time, but what I'm saying is that, well, I've explained what I'm saying. If you think that's a defeatist attitude, carry on, mate. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, with regards to the substitutions, now, this was a lazy narrative, in my opinion, from TalkSport and stuff, saying, "Oh well, he shouldn't have taken Rashford off. He should have done this. He should have done that." And then it was weird because they said they brought an Asensio on. Asensio could have won the game, in which that would have been a masterstroke from Unai Emery. But yet he shouldn't have took Rashford off and brought Watkins on. But if Watkins had scored, that would have been a masterstroke from Unai Emery. So you can't have it both ways. But in terms of substitutions, I don't think that was necessarily the mistake. You might disagree with me if it was at all a mistake. For me, I would have made the 2 substitutions that he was going to make in Ramsey and Asensio as soon as we got that third goal, like immediately. Because if you imagine you're the 2 substitutes coming on, Ramsey and Asensio, right? You're absolutely itching to get on that pitch when you go free to. You're like, I want to get on this pitch now. I want to make the impact now. As soon as the manager says, sit down for a minute, lads. And I can understand why he does it, right? Because you think, what, the players are on the pitch. You don't want to interrupt the momentum. Give them 5 more minutes. But that's 5 more minutes that those players have to sit down again. Then they've got to re-warm up again. Then they're coming back on when maybe PSG have got themselves settled into the game a bit more, which in turn was kind of what happened. I know Asensio had a great shot, but I always wonder why managers do that. Like, if your intention is to make the substitutes and freshen it up, do it then, because those 2 players, it's not like they're going to make you any worse. They're itching to get on. Imagine like Ramsey coming on when they're on the ropes, or Asensio coming on when they're on the ropes, like creating, running at them. Like, I would have just made the subs then.
I think the narrative around the subs and the conversations I've seen is very much like everyone's got their own view on it, haven't they? And actually, I mean, if we'd have stuck Mings on up top and started firing long balls to him, and he got a couple of knockdowns, it would have been an absolute masterstroke. I remember there was when Paul Warhurst had a spell in the 90s when they put him up top and he scored got an striker. I mean, it's not what you're usually going to do. And I've seen a lot of stuff today saying he was wrong to take off Mcginn, wrong to take off Rashford. And actually, I was thinking to myself in the stands, even after Rashford had done so well for that Konza goal, he's looking a little bit leggy now with a couple of his runs, and I think he's maybe run himself out. I think he did more running last night than he did in 3 months at Man United, which is obviously brilliant for us. So I was thinking it was time for Watkins, and I was thinking it was time for Ramsey with Ramsey's energy. So I was actually pleased with the subs because McGinn absolutely ran himself into the ground. And actually, you know what? If he'd left those two on and we'd ended up losing the game, no doubt about it, everyone would have said, "Oh, we should have refreshened it up." So you can't do right for doing wrong, really. And I just think that look at the players. I'm not sure what else any of them could do. I mean, I thought across the team, I thought Cash was excellent second half. So, I mean, from a guy from, the championship winger at a mid-table championship team, basically, to be playing at that level in the Champions League quarterfinals, he's been much maligned, Matty Cash, but I've got to give him huge credit. Digne, looked like he was out of the club, wasn't he, a year and a half ago? Maybe after Saudi. Brilliant, fantastic. Annan, I thought was brilliant. Pau, slight mix-up, obviously, with Martinez's side, I thought was tremendous. Konzatu, McGinn, goes without saying, probably my man of the match. Just thought his energy, and obviously that drive and run from his own half to get the goal. Rashford, not great first half, still a bit of a threat. Second half, absolutely tremendous, fantastic. Actually, Rodgers, brilliant as well. Probably had a couple of chances, and you'll be thinking, what if? But across the team, to go toe to toe against that PSG team with, the greatest fullbacks in the history in the world, apparently, according to all the commentators. They've brought Marquinhos back in, haven't they? The captain. To strengthen the team, and Douay, the star of the future, basically, who scored that unbelievable goal, was on the bench, and yet we beat him. We beat him 3-2. I'm just so, as Seekin says there, I'm just so proud of the team. And what I like about it is, even though it's a little bit of a kind of a hollow victory, right, is that defeat is going to give the team so many positives to move on from. This game, by the way, on Saturday, Villa Newcastle, I mean, you've got two of the most informed, confident teams in the world playing each other at Villa Park. It's going to be hopefully a great result for us, but I hope we've had a day's more rest. It's worked out well for us, but what a level of performance we're at the moment. And I actually think to myself, looking at that wider league, I know this might be a friend of the pod, but I actually think it's between Man City, Forest, and Chelsea to decide the fifth spot. I'm convinced we're gonna keep going. I'm convinced. I genuinely think we are. I think we're too good. I think we're too good.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one on Saturday. Definitely. You highlighted some big performances. I thought Cash was excellent. Kvaratskhelia was very quiet last night in terms of what his potential impact could have been. And Cash did really well against him. And I mean, obviously, McGinn, inspirational performance. Both games, really. He was the one who took it to PSG in the first leg. Obviously, very, very difficult circumstances. But last night, he turned Vitinha into the Vitinha that couldn't get in the Wolves side.
Yeah.
Like second half, he was like, I'm just gonna be on you like a rash, and I'm not gonna let you get any of the ball. I'm gonna roll you. I'm gonna out battle you. I'm gonna put it on you. Basically, he did it. Who's the number 8 again? I can't remember what his name is.
Neves, is it? Neves, is that Neves?
No, the midfielder. Is it Neves?
I think it is, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah. No, Ruiz, number 8, Ruiz.
Yeah.
He just like smashed into him, didn't he?
Oh, I remember that. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
He just smashed into it,
Absolutely.
And then he was just like, and then they kind of didn't want to know, and then he just made him, made Vitinha look poor, and then like he led the charge then because then Anana stepped on them, then Tielemans was getting on the ball, and Rashford. I mean, that is the Rashford that everyone wants to see. He was absolutely electric in that second half. I mean, the run and the shot where the Donnarumma made an absolutely world class save. I mean, I know we scored after it, but match winning save that is. But that pace, people don't realise how difficult it is to run at full speed, keeping control of the ball, to then cut inside your man, look up and have a shot that goes going into the top corner. Like, just to run with the ball at top speed is ridiculous. forget about the context, the surroundings, the atmosphere, the opposition. It is unbelievable. And I said in my morning review, I don't know what Rashford seems to be scared of, because he could be as good as anyone in the world.
Yeah, mate.
I don't know why he's limiting himself to like he's got to be in his mentality, because he kind of he gets to a certain level and he must get scared of getting past that level. If he
Yeah.
can just get past that level, people criticize me when I said the way that he moves and how quick he is off the mark is like classic R9, and I don't. That is how good he could be in terms of his speed and the way he moves past players. We saw it for the goal, the third goal, how quickly he cuts it through the player, puts it through his legs, drops his shoulder, drags the ball back, then cuts it back. Like, he's limiting himself. His own mind is limiting himself. He's scared. He's scared to be so good.
When you were saying that about how difficult it is to run at pace and like how great it was, that obviously that move from Rashford and what I say from Donnarumma, the reason why I was going like this, putting that face, was because obviously we saw Doué and Kvaratskhelia do it last week against us, and yet we saw the direct comparison of Rashford being largely ineffective. Nowhere near the work rate he had tonight. Nowhere near it. That's just. I know it was tough. I know he was isolated. I get all of that. We had more of the possession, and therefore we had more chance. But I still think that he was a level above tonight in terms of work rate. But also when he was, again, I know he was crowded out at times. But if he'd been a bit more direct and gone at them and believed in himself, as you're saying, a bit more, I think we could have got a bit more joy. I know it's difficult. I know it's easy said than done after the event. And, when your towels are up, you've got your home fans. It's different. But I do absolutely see the comparisons you make with R9, because I think there's not many players in the Premier League that can be that direct and also physical with it. You got some silky players, when they're moving with the ball. Karo Matoma on his days is great. Phil Foden, but actually with Morgan Rogers and Marcus Rashford, we've got potentially two of them, and Jacob Ramsey actually is getting more and more physical. I think we've got some of the best ones out there. Daniel Marlin's another one. I mean, actually, I'm trying to think of names throughout the league, and I'm thinking of a lot for Aston Villa. It's what Jack Grealish used to do, isn't it? But anyway, we won't talk about it. But spare Pettifree's thoughts last night, probably watching that, thinking, how good would it have been to be in that crowd? But that's for another day. Yeah, I just think Rashford, like, whether we'll keep him because obviously of the wages and all that, but it's just great to see for him in his career that he's had this renaissance. But obviously, from an Aston Villa perspective, is what we all care about. It's great to see the impact that he's made, and him. I know it's weird, isn't it? Like Asensio's dropped off a little bit. Missed a couple of penalties against the Championship team. Missed a sitter last night. He's missed a couple at the point where Rashford's actually started to really turn it on. So if you get those two firing goals at the same time, then woe betide everybody else. But yeah, and it would have been just confirmed now, isn't it? Arsenal won 2-1 on the night. It would have been Arsenal if we'd have got through. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. If any of me aren't,
Yeah.
watching,
Yeah.
what. Yeah.
Tombo Jones, we'll get into comments, says, I love that triangle of Kamara, Onana, and Tielemans. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Lewis said they couldn't handle Super John. He's so unique. No other midfielder like him. Adam says Rodgers should have come off instead of Rashford. Potentially. Gary says never seen Donnarumma as good as that. Matt says Rashford was brilliant. He should have stayed on. In terms of Rashford, Tombo says he just hasn't got the confidence and it doesn't last for too long. Gary says Conser is K9. Woof, woof. James says never had a manager like Unai. If Rashford wants it, Emery will up his levels. Keep Rashford and Felix goes away, says Gary. Tombo says Rashford wants bigger clubs, but if Unai had him for next season, he would be ridiculous. Kevin says don't worry about Rashford. Knee pant is coming. And yeah. And Seeking says Villa are the best. We definitely agree with you there. Size in the house, good to see you in the chat, mate. Justus says we need to upgrade speed, pace as a team, definitely in the back four. We could not even touch them in the counter attack. Cash and Dino solid, but got smoked. Yeah, although I would say that, I mean, it was Cash who put the crossing right at the end for Maatsen. So he kept his speed endurance pretty well. He might not be the fastest. I mean, we've got a few players like that, and we've talked about Ollie Watkins with that. Like, the game goes into sort of 80 minutes, and, Cash is still kind of running at the same speed as he was, a minute one. Watkins is the same. That's where they kind of come into their own a little bit, because they can maintain the level of sprint. And Digne kind of plays more with speed in his head, doesn't he? He doesn't
Yeah.
really do that. That's not really his game. Matson's pretty quick, but I do kind of take the point. Pau Torres can get caught out sometimes, but he wasn't the way that PSG move the ball and the way that they rotate their forwards. It sometimes they don't really have a striker, so you get what I mean. Like, so it didn't really. It was more like diagonal from the wide areas where they might get in behind you, as opposed to like maybe a Rashford or a Watkins that would peel off the shoulder of the centre back.
I think the point is valid from Christos. Yasu File Christos. I think it's absolutely valid in terms of, I think generally to upgrade the club, we probably do need to get top quality, better level fullbacks. Digne is not getting any younger, but from a last night's performance, I don't think there was anything really, other than being a bit tentative around the box, we could have done differently, other than the mistake for the first goal. I also think most teams being counter-attacked by this PSG team, I don't care if you've got prime, Kyle Walker, I think you're struggling against it. I think it's just relentless, and it's unbelievable, and it's limitless Jake Gyllenhaal style. Just, I can achieve anything that I want. Those players look like they could just do anything on that pitch. That was summed up by the purity of the strikes for the first two goals last week. And we have to remember back to that game. It was two absolute worldies, and then we got cut open at the end. And that's that. And another night, the PSG beat someone by 6 or 7 the way they played last week. So to still be in the game, just about, ultimately that third goal is the killer. But as you say, if it had only been 2-1, it probably would have been a different setup by them. But yeah, through the team, just such pride. I think everybody, there's no one last night you're looking at thinking they haven't really contributed much. Weirdly, the subs didn't contribute much. Watkins didn't really get a chance, and obviously Asensio missed a big chance.
Exactly. They didn't have. I mean, Watkins. There was a couple of times Rodgers should have put him in where he went for it himself, but he didn't really have too much of an opportunity. As I say, I kind of felt like the subs maybe. It was more out of circumstance in PSG's home leg, where the ball just didn't go out of play to allow the substitutions to be made. But I kind of felt like the subs maybe could have come on 5 minutes earlier. Ramsey and Asensio 5 minutes earlier, and then the Watkins and Matson 5 minutes earlier. But that's all if buts and maybes, isn't it? Question in terms of Watkins, just quickly. Gary says him not starting was curious. Would you? I mean, I think Dean Saunders kind of said if he was Ollie Watkins, he would be, knocking on the manager's door, and he only got half an hour across the two legs. What do you think about the Watkins situation? I mean, I was kind of convinced he would have started yesterday, maybe Rashford off the left, but I don't know. I mean, who doesn't play apart? Who does he come in for in terms of that game last night?
Well, I don't think you could fault the selection of Onana. I thought he was great. I thought the midfield generally, we obviously mentioned McGinn, Tielemans, obviously he's unbelievable, isn't he, Tielemans? So I don't think you can fault that. And Unai's obviously got a plan, and he looked like probably not a good idea when we're 2 down. But the thing is, right, Watkins isn't stupid, and he knows he's not been in great form, obviously up until, he obviously got his great goal the other day. He's missed quite a lot of chances. Still think he's one that's missed the most big chances in the Premier League this season. And this is not, I'm not going to go into an anti-Ollie Watkins rant.
I do hate that argument. No, I do hate it. I just hate that. Oh, he's missed the most big chances. I just hate that. But you've said it.
Yeah, I've said it. Yeah. And so for those who've watched the channel before, there are some of us that get on it about Ollie, right? I'm desperate for him to beat the record for Gabby. I think he's been fantastic. We know all about that. Another season of 20 plus goals and assists. But you've brought in Marcus Rashford, who's looking like he's in good form, and something's got to give somewhere, and he's got to make a decision. And I don't think you can look at Rashford's performance last night and think that Watkins necessarily would have done anything better than that. Clearly, it's frustrating, but it's a sign of a big club. It's one of a big club with a lot of options.
I think people are saying maybe that both of them could have started. Maybe you could have put Rashford off the left and Watkins up front, but like you said, does that mean that Onana's out of the team? What Mcginn? Look at the performance that John Mcginn put in. You know, Ramsey didn't start, so does that? You know, should Ramsey be complaining? Like, do you know? Like you said, we've
Oh,
got a strong squad.
should Mings be complaining? Should Disassi be complaining? Should Matson be complaining? Um,
Yeah,
the thing is, we can't have both arguments, right? I mean, people can say
yeah,
what they want, of course, and I did believe, and I would have personally selected Watkins. I thought that goal should fantastic finish, obviously at the weekend, should have given him a lot of confidence to then go into tonight, and he's your main man. I would have started him, but you can't argue generally that every single player did really well, and then argue at the same point that he's made the wrong team selection. And I mean, ultimately, we beat PSG on the night, and that is probably all you could have hoped for, because I didn't think. I predicted like a 2-2 draw. I thought we'd score, they'd score. And at one point, obviously, deep into the game, deep into the first half, we're thinking we're probably going to get beaten 4 or 5-0 here. We're going
yeah.
to chase it a
Exactly,
little bit and get
exactly.
picked off. But there's
Yeah,
always going to be selection headaches. But this is the thing. We know as Villa fans, you're now seeing the media across the board talking about, oh my God, have you seen Villa's bench? Like
yeah,
everybody, it's
yeah.
almost like a cheat code that everyone seems to have worked out, except there's not much they can do about it when we're bringing on the Asensios and the Marlons and the Watkins, like we
Well,
are in games recently.
this is it. People have been saying like, "Oh, Marlon should be starting and should have had this," but instead of who? Like,
Mm,
it's so difficult to say. You know, Leon Bailey was back on the bench yesterday. He'll I'm sure be chomping at the bit to get some minutes. Ross Barkley came on for a little 5-10 minutes last night. He'll be wanting to get back in the side. So he's got so many options that someone's gonna have someone's gonna have to give. Um,
yeah,
James said it's a squad game, different 11 for every game. Wasn't Ollie to start last night, but probably starts against Newcastle. So I said I'd have put Rashford left and Ollie up top. Villaman Cloudy said I was hoping we'd start Ollie, Rashford, Rogers, and Asensio. Starting 11 baffled him. We only really grew into it in the second half. Watkins didn't really get a sniff when he came on, but I would have left Rashford on. And he says Mcginn. I guess the problem with that is I know we ultimately were 2-0 down, but I think he wanted more legs and more physicality in midfield, and Asensio wouldn't have given you that, which would have made it a bit more difficult.
yeah,
Tombo says Unai said that Rashford wide hurts our system, so it's as a striker for the rest of the season. Rogers ran himself into the ground, so for me, Rogers should have come off. So yeah, I mean, it's one of them. Bailey is way down the list. Well, we'll see, mate. We will see. We will see. I think Unai likes Leon Bailey, so we'll have to wait and see about that. What was I going to say? Oh, I can't remember. Make sure you smash a like, people, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers. Keep your comments flowing in as well. And yeah, who would you say was your man of the match? We've had some. Obviously, we've talked about some big performances. We've talked about. I mean, was it Musa Dembele? He got
Oh
it for
my
them.
God! Did Lee Dixon do it? Yeah. I
But
mean,
obviously, John
unbelievable.
McGinn, Yuri Tillemans. We've talked about some big performances.
I I just think John McGinn for me, I'd give it to. I thought he was, high energy. John McGinn has been again much maligned. A lot of people, me included, if I had to pick my absolute very best talent 11, you'd be thinking, well, you got Asensio not in the team, Rashford, Watkins. He's the one you maybe are. If you're keeping Rodgers in there, you're keeping Tillemans in there. You see what I'm saying? Might be out of the team, but no, I thought it was great, and I just epitomised by that goal. I mean, I could give it to probably any of them really, but the standout ones I think for me were. I thought Rashford was excellent second half. I thought Torres was good. Konza, I mean, obviously he's missed Konza. I'm so annoyed. Why didn't he head the ball? But then he scored. Then he scored the goal that obviously got us. He was in the right kind of place.
Scored, and he
And
should have had
actually,
a shot in the first half when he tried to put it across the box.
should have, shouldn't he? Yeah, and actually, you know what? His goal was a great finish.
Great finish.
Yeah, crisp side foot. Yeah, but no, listen, we're being a bit disrespectful here. It's definitely Dembele. Why are you even talking about the Aston Villa
I
players?
mean, their keeper, Donnarumma. I wouldn't have minded him getting it.
Mm,
I
yeah,
mean, he made some amazing
I thought
saves.
Dembele was excellent last night. What was they? It must be something dodgy going on there. Someone knows someone
He didn't
because
do anything.
Yeah, that's like you get like at kids football, you get a really like biased ref, it's really obvious, like some 17-year-old is just giving terrible decisions all the time. The man of the match person's like Dembele's uncle or something, because that's
Well, it
just
would have
shocking.
been a sponsor, and they would have no idea about football, and they've just gone, oh yeah, just give it to him.
Yeah,
That's what it'd have been.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
It'd be like, John McGinn, who's he? So yeah, Gary says Rashford or McGinn. Sai says Cash or Donnarumma for me, maybe McGinn. HFD says Dembele was refusing to take the man of the match trophy. He was, yeah, he was. Villa Man says Rashford or McGinn. Joey says, how can we win 3-2 in Dembele man of the match? Super John McGinn was superb. Tombo says McGinn by an absolute mile. Julie says Dembele as man of the match is a piss take. And James said Onana had a very good game. And Mark, it says, afternoon, lads, your thoughts on Newcastle United this Saturday. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll do a little preview for that. It's on everyone's mind, isn't it, already? It's only Wednesday. And yeah, so last thing on this game, the referee, Kevin.
Poor
3 minutes of extra time as Emery's kingdom of Aston, 150 years, 1874. UTFB says,
catchy name,
how
that.
is that only?
Catchy name.
Yeah. So not only 3 minutes of injury time. I mean, I don't know if he's responsible for that, but the amount of fouls that he gave for them, the amount of ridiculous decisions that he made, the time wasting he allowed from their goalkeeper. And tonight, David Raya gets booked after 25 minutes for attempting to time waste. Donnarumma was doing it from the 5th minute.
Yeah.
What was this referee all about?
Yeah, it was. The worst thing about it is that I think a lot of people were thinking before the game, we're almost certainly going to get a dodgy ref. I heard a lot of people mentioning it. And then I thought, oh, he's Spanish, the old French-Spanish relations over the years haven't always been that good. Maybe Unai knows him. You look, he wasn't from like Montpellier, was he, the ref? So I thought, well, hang on a minute. Maybe we've got half a chance. But we've seen some great refs in Europe. We've seen some absolute dog doo-doo refs as well in Europe. And yeah, I mean, there was so many parts of his dog poo, yeah, same chat, me and you, Julie. There was so many parts of his performance that were just so. I thought he had no control. I mean, I didn't see him at any point like he was trying to, whenever they were moving free kick positions or really delaying. And I know Emi Martinez is king of the SAOs for us, but you see refs getting on with it, giving him a yellow card. He knows he doesn't do it again. I thought the ref had absolutely no control. I thought he was far too respectful to. It makes you start thinking: is he getting some kind of dodgy backhander? Because surely his own pride and integrity looks at that situation and goes, "What am I doing?" I mean, there was all the goals in the second half. There was all the substitutions in the second half. We made 5, didn't we? They made 1. So there's 6 subs. That's 30 seconds each one. Plus there's 2 goals. So that should be 4 minutes if it's 30 seconds each one. Plus the time wasting. You're looking at, I think, a minimum 6-7 minutes last night. And there is a psychological difference. When that ball goes up for 7 minutes, the crowd goes, oh my God. Just like you said about the impact of bringing the subs on just after we scored the 3rd goal, you'll get the same kind of impact. When it was 3 minutes and then Doué keeps it in the corner for 2 minutes of that, you're thinking, oh, for God's sake, like, we're not even going to get a chance. I know Maatsen obviously had that shot, but, I just didn't ever really feel like we got that opportunity to really have a go at them. If it'd been 7 minutes, I would have thought, crikey, we got a bit of pressure coming our way. But 3 minutes, get it in the corner, you basically dealt with it. And I just think it's crap. It's not the reason we've lost the game. It's not.
No.
But just shocking. And actually, right, some of the decisions in terms of the fouls. I felt like, I mean, this is the thing you think as a fan, isn't it? But I felt like we were getting given fouls against us that weren't fouls and the other way around. But then I'm right in the corner of the hole. I can't probably see as well as the rest.
Sometimes it was difficult to see, but it just felt like there was times where you could maybe see we'd won the ball, or it was a challenge that, like you said, that they were making that wasn't given, and then we were on the receiving end, or we would do it, and it would get given. But yeah, Gary's cracked it though. Gary has cracked it. It was a job swap. The
Yeah,
ref
yeah,
was the DJ, and the
yeah,
DJ was the ref.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. I saw it all afterwards, and then my brain went, "Of course," because the only bit I thought about that music was, why are they playing the Champions League music as the players are running towards the fans? Because normally you see them like the famous pictures. They're lining up on the telly. It's going along the team sheet, all the names, and you've got these are the champions, and it was like that. They're like, it was only afterwards when I saw about the highlights, and I thought, oh my god, it's the Europa League music, the Conference League music. Somebody somewhere has got to be getting their P45. I mean, that is an absolute disgrace. I mean, who's done that? I don't know whether I wonder whether it's like a. I feel like I'm having a bit of a Matt Kendrick sort of like tangent here, like he does. But I don't know if it's someone that like, is there someone that properly does the job of the button presser? Is there some is that a job, or was it just someone saying,
They
"Oh,
they
oh,
said they said they
yeah,
said that there was a system error with 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 playing the Champions League music, that it played some sort of reserved music that they I
reserve"?
don't
Well,
know.
look, what if it had been a WAP?
I know,
What's the
yeah,
song? WAP.
yeah.
What if it
I know,
what if it had been Biffy Clyro? What if it had been Britney Spears? I mean, it could have been
yeah,
anything, but I'm just thinking like somebody's got to be the one that presses the button at the time to time it. It's not done on a camera, realizing the players get in position, and somebody's just pressed. Let's be clear, someone's pressed the wrong button, and I'm
yeah.
wondering whether someone normally does it. But if anyone's ever been to like the Villa and tried to get a drink behind the bar, like some of the staff are absolutely of the performance the standard of the referee, walking around like they've got 5 weeks to serve a beer. And I wonder whether one of those was set up to listen. All you need to do is press the button for music, and he sees European music, or she sees it, and went, "That'll be the one," and then couldn't work out how to change it. It's just, and you can imagine the panic behind the scenes. Someone going, "Jesus Christ, Barry, we've got the wrong music on." Trying to on the walkie-talkies, trying to get through to someone. Oh God! Luckily, the
That
crowd
was last season's Conference League music.
it's just
They
embarrassing.
put the 2023-24 European instead of the 24-25 in.
But as we're saying,
Yeah,
I mean, the chat that it though, as if there's some sort of reserve music, as
yeah.
if they've got that, as if it defaults to something else.
I know. Yeah, it's blatantly they're
Anyway,
just covering for
anyway,
someone.
I enjoyed that segment. That
Just
was good.
just on reflection, and I guess this will take us to sort of the final point around what's to come for the rest of the season. Certainly, what's to come from Saturday onwards. I mean, how much inspiration can Villa take from that game, from this Champions League run? To want this for future seasons. What will this mean to them in terms of really setting the standards?
I think it'll mean everything. And do you know what? Like, I know we've had some big wins in recent years. The two consecutive home wins against Man City. Obviously beating Arsenal home and away last season. So I think we know we've got the belief in the team generally. But I still think that that Bayern performance was a little bit. Not that we were under the cosh loads, but like it wasn't like we had tons of chances in that game. But I look at last night now, and I think that this team, I think they'll be like, you know what? Normally you'd have Man City and Newcastle back to back in the Premier League. You'd be thinking, oh, crikey. And we could easily still lose both of those games, right? A lot of exertions lately. We're still in the FA Cup. They both got nothing else to play for. Have they? Newcastle have won the Carabao Cup. It's just league position for them, though. We've still got two things we're worried about. But I really believe that we are on our day
Well,
now.
Man City have got the FA Cup as well, don't forget.
Oh, of course they have. Yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah,
was back in Forest to beat them easily there.
yeah.
Um, um, but on our day now, I genuinely believe like every team will be thinking, crikey, it's Villa. And Villa at Villa Park for Newcastle. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a game. That league position now, I mean, obviously everyone's on 32 games. So we know there's 6 games left. There's 18 points to play for. And it's still really, really tight. And this is the
Mm.
thing, without doing my gag I do every podcast, they've still got to go to Middlesbrough on a Tuesday night. Like they've all got some tough games. They've all got some tough runnings.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's you said there we could win. We could go and win both those games. We could draw both those games. We could lose both those games and still finish in the top 5 because we could go and win the next 4 or 5 games after it. So absolutely, it's It's huge. It's huge. Just a couple of comments. Villain Man McCloudy says we have to match Newcastle's intensity on the weekend. Got to be on it. Get stuck in and be
Yeah.
merciless. It's going to be a hard game. We've got a PSG fan in here. Calfchi says PSG fan here. Congrats to Villa for the tough game. Good luck in the Premier League. Thank you very much, mate, and thank you
Cheers.
for tuning in.
Appreciate
It
it.
is much
Yeah. Good luck.
appreciated.
Good luck against Arsenal.
It's much appreciated. And yeah, I mean, the situation coming into this, like you said earlier, and we will do a full preview later on this week, but just an early one. Newcastle obviously had a great result tonight, i.e. Wednesday night against Crystal Palace, beating them 5-0, looking pretty relentless as they do at home when they get going. But Villa, 18 games unbeaten at home. Is it now 9 wins, as in results from the last 10 games in all competitions? The only game we've lost is the 3-1 against Paris Saint-Germain. Multiple clean sheets in the last few games as well. A squad, like you said, that is chomping at the bit. You know, you're bringing in the likes of Daniel Marlon on the weekend, potentially. Andres Garcia, as I've said, you know, Leon Bailey's back fit. Ross Barkley's back fit. Disassi. Ollie Watkins. You know, all these players who haven't really featured too much, and they're raring to go. You know, probably play an unchanged side, but you get my point. It's shaping up to be an absolute humdinger of a game, isn't it? Because Newcastle are irresistible at the moment. You know, Harvey Barnes is flying for them. We know how good their midfield is. Isak is the best striker in the Premier League at the moment. So it's shaping up to be an absolute mouth-watering prospect of a game.
Yeah, it's huge, mate. It's huge. It really is. It's absolutely massive. And obviously they've got themselves into third now in the league. So, you know, two good wins to get themselves back on the same number of games as us. And yeah, they are nicely in third. They're 5 points clear of us. So if we win and we beat them, the gap then again it's one game swing, isn't it? But I think it'd be huge for us because we'd go on to 57 points if we won, which would be absolutely massive. You look at the other teams' games this weekend. Forest have got Spurs away. You know, so that's obviously not going to. I know Spurs are not in a good place, but it's still not going to be easy for them, Forest with their form, to beat Spurs away. I think we know that for a fact. Man City have got Everton away. I mean, again, Everton are absolutely flying at the moment in terms of their form. And Chelsea have got Fulham away, so obviously that's their derby, isn't it? So, you know, Fulham have obviously they beat Liverpool the other week. So no easy games for anybody really. I just think this will be so big. I know we've won so many games lately in the league, but to win this one would really, really get us amongst it. You know, and way to Man City is not going to be easy. I'm going to be there. You know, it's not going to be easy. Man City's running for May actually looks fairly easy. You know, they've got Fulham, they've got Southampton, Newcastle's running. They've got obviously us, and then Ipswich, and then actually their fixtures for May look decidedly tricky. They got Brighton away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, and Everton at home. So their running's not. You'd rather have ours instead of theirs. But it's so close now, isn't it? It's so close. But I do think a defeat at home to Newcastle, if the other team's got even at least a point, you know, then you're looking at, well, you're still pretty close to Chelsea, but that's in sixth. You know, Man City 2 points clear of you. If they get a whiff, Man City win, which you'd fancy them still to win, then all of a sudden you're 5 points behind, fourth spot. You know, I say Forest get a draw, whatever, and that feels like that Man City game. Then if you lose that could be all over, couldn't it?
Yeah. It's very, very important. It's very important that we get, I think, at least one win out of these next two. It's very, very important that we do.
Yeah. I think 4 points is needed.
Yeah. Jay Sharp says, mindful of a Champions League hangover. Now, we have done all right the last few games after Champions League. I think we beat Brentford after one of the Bruges games. I think we beat, obviously, Southampton, which not necessarily. If you could ask for a game after Paris Saint-Germain defeat, you would have Southampton. But, you know, maybe that sort of Champions League hangover situation, particularly with the number of players we've got in the squad now, it kind of helps with that, doesn't it? You know, because you're not going to the well with the same players again. So that makes a difference with freshness. And even if we are 1-0 down or we're drawing, the ability to bring like 3 or 4 players on that can change a game is just an absolute godsend for Unai Emery at the moment. And you get the feeling it could be something like that turns it around for on Saturday. Because yes, Newcastle are pretty relentless. Yes, we know how strong they are, but I can't see them like going after Villa in the way that they kind of went after Crystal Palace tonight. In terms of that intensity, they will understand what Villa have got, to hurt them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're a good team, aren't they? And they have obviously beaten us at Villa Park, in the past a few times. So, and they've kind of been our bogey team, haven't they? I think other than that great performance when I think Ramsey and Watkins scored against them a few seasons back.
Well, they don't do very well at Villa Park. I will say that they won last season, but that was more an exception to the rule. So like we never win there, and they hardly ever beat us at Villa Park.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking of last season, aren't I, in terms of most recent ones. I remember there was that Danny Ings overhead kick in a win and a Harahan free kick and stuff. So we have obviously had some good results at home, but he's absolutely key. The other thing about tonight's game was obviously Palace look like, Jesus, what a defeat that is. That's not going to be good for their confidence going into what will be a week later, FA Cup semi-final. So, I don't care who you are, but a defeat like that against anybody, it's going to start make you questioning you how good you are. I know they had a bad defeat early in the season, didn't they, against someone, and came back to on a good run, but yeah, that's maybe a positive we could take from them getting such a pasting. But I think we'll be really, really up for it.
Yeah, and just moving slightly to the future with that Palace game in the semi-final. Am I right in thinking if we beat Palace in the semi-final, are we pretty much guaranteed a spot in the Europa League?
Why would that be?
Well, because it's Forest or Man City that we play, right, in the final. So if we win it, we obviously get the Europa League. If we lose it to one of those two and they end up in the Champions League spot, the Europa League spot will go to 7th.
Oh yeah, so it's either if it was like if it went to the person that lost the final, you'd get it, but clearly that doesn't happen. It doesn't get as a second prize. If it goes to the league position, both of those scenarios, we'd be getting the trappings of success, wouldn't we? So, yeah, beating Palace actually is potentially just qualifying for Europe. So, yeah, I mean, either way, like you win it to get in Europe, actually, you get in the league position.
As long as we came in the top 7, yeah.
Which is looking. We've got a 6-point gap on Bournemouth and Fulham. So that is looking pretty good now. Like we've our run of recent, like four in a row, isn't it, Premier League? So that's been really good. God, if we can get to 6 in a row, we'll be in an unbelievable position.
Oh mate, yeah. Well, form at the moment, current form, Newcastle have won 5 in a row, so they're form team in the league. But we're 4 out of 5, so we've got 12 points from the last 15. Same as Liverpool. So no one else is matching that form between us, Liverpool, and Newcastle in the last 3 games. Yeah. Brighton were on fire, but they've had a terrible last 4 games. And Forest have lost 2 in a row. Palace have lost 2 in a row. Man City have kind of won and drawn over their last 4 games. So yeah, we're in great form at the moment. And as I say, we can't be going into this game anything other than confident, and I think it's a real opportunity to make I feel like Newcastle's got that bit of an edge to it as well, like, and especially after what happened at St James's with John Duran. I know he's not here now, but I feel like John Mcginn is like he really wants to win this game. Like he hates it, the situation against Newcastle. I feel like he really wants to get into him. I feel like Kamara, if he needs a big game against someone like Joe Linton or Tonali.
Yeah.
It's kind of like both midfields get lauded in terms of Tielemans, Kamara, how good they are, but then you've got Bruno, Tonali, and Joe Linton who get lauded about how good they are, and it's kind of like a battle of the midfields. Do you know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
throw in Jason Tyndall to the mix as well.
God, Jason Tyndall, as Gary says, turkey teeth Tyndall needs stuffing. Yeah, yeah, nice one. We need to be energetic. We need to be at it. We absolutely do. We need to be actually like we were in that big win we had against them 3-0 at Villa Park a couple of years back, where John Mcginn was smashing into Dan Burn. I don't think he knew what hit him really. It may well be a game, I think, for Anana again for the physicality perspective. Anana Kamara, I think, would be good shout. I think Matson with his energy is a good one for that game. Marlon, you wouldn't be surprised if it was Marlon and Garcia. If Cashy's maybe a bit battered from the midweek exertions. Hey, we got a great squad, Richard. We got a great squad, and any combination of those players. Do you see Mings come back in for the physicality? You
Maybe
know,
Disassi as well, potentially.
well, when you've got corners, and they've got the likes of obviously Isak, Share. Obviously, they've got a pretty big lad in terms of Joe Linton and Dan Burn. They've got some good players, some physical players, and yeah, we probably want our physical powerhouses in there to compete, don't we?
Definitely. Well, look, that is a hugely anticipated game that's coming up on Saturday. We'll do our match preview either tomorrow or Friday with that one coming up. But yeah, just a final word, mate. How proud are you of the team with regards to this Champions League run? It didn't go any further than the quarterfinals, unfortunately. But I think any Villa fan would have would have not believed you if you'd have. I mean, I know we'd have said we can win it, but the experience that we've had across the Champions League, beating Bayern Munich, beating Bologna, going to Bruges and winning there in the last 16, coming in the top 8 of the Champions League group stages it was incredible. I mean, the memories that it's brought us this season have just been incredible, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I saw some stats saying no teams won as many on the Champions League debut, although you get 8 games in the group now rather than the 6 previously. That's maybe a little bit of a skewed stat, but yeah, we've more than held our own. I mean, to finish top 8 was just a phenomenal achievement. Most people would have backed us for a playoff position, but we were top. We were top of the group, weren't we, after 3 games? So absolutely fantastic. And to have the night against Bayern Munich at home and all the memories of obviously of '82 and everything that stands for, to have the away wins in obviously Young Boys, away win obviously in Bruges
Leipzig.
knockouts, Leipzig, home win against Bologna, big home win against Celtic. That was a big night. Obviously, we were pegged back 2-2. And then the PSG, I mean, that was a proper game against a proper team, and they know they've been in the game. PSG do, and Enrique said himself, didn't he, afterwards, that no team has put his team under that level of pressure. If you end up losing that game 3 or 4-0, which you could see happening at 2-0 after half an hour, you then go into the Newcastle game feeling like the wheels have really come off. It's the most positive defeat that you could get, and again, I know we wax lyrical about the journey we've been on in the last few years, but to think where this club's come from last night, to have probably the entire world who are football fans watching that game. I wonder how many more new fans we've got. I don't mean
Yeah.
the Villa podcast, by the way, but hopefully a few. But yeah, if you're not subscribed and you like our chat, please subscribe. It means the world to us. And like the video, please, as well. That always helps people find us. But I'm in Aston Villa. I mean, I think I saw some stuff on Twitter about some of the content. When you consume all the content that you can. I often think people after big Villa wins, the reason why they're knackered for work the next day is because I spent an hour and a half on social media trying to get interviews from CBS Sports Galazzo and TNT Sports and Amazon Prime, whatever, everything you can get. But I've seen a few comments saying new Villa fan here, new Villa fan here. So this is the thing I think is so important about this. You've got a generation of Villa fans that could be Man City fans, could be Newcastle fans, could be, Arsenal fans, could be Liverpool fans, but they're going to be Villa fans and their kids are going to be Villa fans. And that's fantastic for the club. This is a global competition, the Champions League. And we've gone toe to toe with a team like PSG. We've been one of the stars of the tournament. We've got players that will now be renowned throughout the world. It just bodes really well for our future. And my God, 9 years ago, we got relegated. It's not that long ago when we had Dr. Tony Gia at the helm, and and some of the players from that era, that Championship era, Mings, Ramsey, John McGinn, Super John McGinn are still here now. McGinn to go from, scoring in the playoff final, scoring that world against Sheff Wednesday in a season we finished, 13th or something, to to be scoring that worldie against PSG it's just a wonderful journey. And do you know what, mate? I don't want us to be plucky losers, though. I want us to go on from this now, win the FA Cup, finish in the top 5. What a fantastic season that would be for Aston Villa, and it's absolutely in our hands. So, carpe diem, fellas.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, it makes these next sort of 4, 5, 6 games all the more important because we've got to, you want to cement that momentum that we've got this season and take that into next season and kind of be an established Champions League club or a back-to-back Champions League club at least with a trophy to your name with the FA Cup. So yes, absolutely brilliant journey in the Champions League this season. It's been amazing, but we're not done yet. We need to get that FA Cup under our belt and get into Champions League for next season. We'll be back later this week with our Newcastle preview. Obviously, we've covered it a little bit tonight, but the anticipation is huge for that game. So we'll be back with plenty of previews. I'm sure myself, maybe Kev, maybe one or two of the others will be on some Newcastle podcasts, I'm sure, over the next few days as well. So yeah, make sure you look out for that as well. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button on your way out if you haven't already. Help us on the road to 6,000. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and thank you for all your comments and all your support to the channel. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.